got really loud here at Target Field during the Twins' 8th inning rally. After a shaky start in Toronto, Carl Pavano came back to pick up the win today.
The Lyle Pacelli football team finished last season with a record of 2-7, but when the Athletics hit the practice field next week, they'll have a new head coach.
Now it's my turn.
I'll tell you when the puck could drop on a junior hockey league team in southern Minnesota.
Caleb, I am so pumped for football, but I bet the two guys standing next to me, making me feel really short right now, are even more excited for tonight's matchup.
To be honest, how much do you love your job? How cool is your job? You got to share with the camera guy.
Kessler, I was up at the Dome when you guys brought in that state title. Such an exciting moment, not just for you, but for your team and for the community. Is that excitement carrying over to this year?
Coming up at 10 o'clock, come along with me as I tour and taste test all of the new foods that'll be available this season. But for now, I gotta put my feet up and reserve my seat for opening day. Back to you. Devoted Cornhusker followers invaded Minneapolis this afternoon for the first Big Ten meeting between the Gophers and 13th ranked Nebraska. Things have gone downhill for the Vikings after they lost to the Saints in the NFC Championship game. Since then, Minnesota has gone on to a record of 8 wins and 22 losses. The Timberwolves have had 6 of their first 7 games at home, but they're facing some tough teams early on. Tonight's no different. They're looking for their first win against the reigning NBA champions.
And what's your prediction on this year's Wolves?
Wolves, I'm having a lot of fun watching them. I'd like to see them do well. Reminds me of the 2003-2004 season. A lot of fun to watch. The competition is heating up for our ABC6 Play of the Week. This marked the defending champions in the NAHL last year, so this is going to be a great division rivalry to watch as the season carries forward. I did the Prep Athletes of the Week, the top line for the Dodge County Wildcats. They beat number 4 Blake, the number 4 team in the state tonight, 6-3. The top line, I know how to pick my Prep Athletes of the Week. They had 6 goals. They're now 5-0. I know the secret recipe to the Bruins win tonight. They were handing these out at the game. These are the rally rags.
Oh, awesome.
They must have done the trick.
Did you ever bag groceries?
For my mom all the time.
That totally counts.
The PEM boys traveling to Spring Valley, home of the Kingsland Knights. First half, Bulldogs taking the inbound, but Sam Eberle picks it off and gives it to Tanner Lang. Lang takes it from midcourt and finishes with the hook for 2. Eberle was all over the floor tonight. He forces another turnover for the Knights, but he takes this one himself for the bucket. Next, it's another episode of the Lang and Eberle show, as I like to call it. Tanner hits up Sam for the 3. Kingsland started the game with a 13-0 run. PEM finally getting on the board, though. They hit up Chase Montgomery behind the arc. He drains the 3. The Bulldogs come back from their rough start. They win it 67-50.
First baseman Joe Lewison was known as the comedian of the Lyle Pacelli baseball team, who was chronically late to practice and loved flat-billed baseball caps.
He was just a comedian. He was just all around a funny guy.
Always cracking jokes, always making people laugh.
He liked trying to hit home runs, even though I don't know if I ever saw him hit one or not. He always tried.
Joe was supposed to be one of the 19 players on the Lyle Pacelli baseball team this season, but only 18 are listed on the roster. Lewison was killed instantly when his truck collided with a train back in February. This spring, in what should have been Joe's senior year of baseball, his team takes the field without him.
Without Joe, it's definitely quieter.
Yeah, losing him just really, it hurt a lot.
While it is difficult for these players to carry on without Joe, baseball has allowed them to honor his memory. This season, the Athletics wear flat-billed hats and have the initials JL on their batting helmets, tributes to their fallen teammate.
Every time I put on this hat, I remember Joe.
I think the guys have a little more something to play for this year.
I think we're playing for Joe. I think it's definitely we want to play good for him and say, this one's for you, buddy.
The team asked Joe's mom, Mary, to throw out the first pitch in a game against Blooming Prairie, a special moment for catcher Kyle Meyer.
I just wish I had more to give her. She's been through a lot, and she deserves the world.
This group of young men has lost something irreplaceable, but it's brought them closer together.
We're coming more as more of a team than last year, and I definitely think Joe's kind of helping with that.
And coming to practices and games gives them a place to heal.
It lets everything else that goes away. If I have a bad day, it doesn't matter. We're on the baseball field now. So.
I think about Joe every day, and we always talk about him after practice or after games.
While Joe may not physically be standing at first base, he's still very much a part of this team. An angel in the infield who's chronically late.
I think he's there every single day. He just shows up a little late, like usual.
The last few games we had a little trouble in the first few innings, and I noticed myself that I have trouble the first few innings, but Joe always comes late, and it seems like by the end of the game we're all just back together and united and playing well again. So it seems like once he arrives, it's just everybody's ready to play.
Being sidelined by an injury is the sort of heartbreak Mitch Gotti knows far too well.
I fractured my tibia on October 11th of this last year. I had never had an injury like that.
Gotti was determined to heal in time for the hockey season, and Century athletic trainer Amy Klein was with him every step of the way.
And she always knows what to say at the right time. I mean, that's why I was back so quickly, too. She was pushing me like no other to get back in the ice.
When softball pitcher Hannah Queasley broke her throwing hand midseason, Amy was there.
Amy did an awesome job with me. She came up to the field every day.
And when football quarterback Nick Bizey had not one but 2 surgeries on his throwing shoulder, Amy was by his side.
I saw Amy like every day for a solid 2 years.
But one day after school, Amy wasn't in the training room.
Amy started feeling sick. We didn't really know what it was, and when you have them say, okay, you have lymphoma, it kind of crushes you a little bit.
First things I thought of when I found out I had lymphoma was, oh no, what about the kids?
It was awful when I found out. I couldn't believe it.
It was shocking just because Amy is Amy and you don't think she would ever get sick.
Now Amy's the one on the sidelines. She's been away from work since December and has started treatment for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Some of us athletes, we spend more time around her than our actual mom, so kind of miss having her, really miss having her around here.
In Amy's absence, the athletes have rallied. They found ways to raise money for her medical bills and show their support.
For her to do things for us meant so much to us, and now it's our turn to do things for her.
The girls' basketball team has listed Amy on their roster as number 55. It's the same number on the jersey they drape over the bench in her honor. And it's hard to miss the bright green socks the boys' basketball team wears or the green tape wrapped around the Panthers' hockey sticks.
Catch you out of the corner of the eye and turn around, look, and just remember that Amy's still here even though she's not here.
All of it reminders that there is a bigger battle playing out off the field, one with no rules and no officiating.
She's never going to quit, and you should never quit on the ice. No matter how hard it gets.
While Amy has compelled these athletes to band together, they're the ones inspiring her to get back in the game.
Just knowing that they're willing to fight with me it helps a ton. I mean, they're behind me, so I can't quit because I would never let any of them quit.
Because nothing can come between Amy and her athletes.
Like, who's excited for 2 days? I am. I'm ready for August. Let's go.